This is Johnny with Tiger Bomb MMA, and tonight I'm going over UFC Fight Night. Andrade versus Blanchfield. Tyler Santos went running, so now we've got Andrade taking the place of the, I guess, Brazilian. So they got another Brazilian to take the place. So this is taking place at 125 for potentially the number one contender spot for who gets the fight, the winner of Grasso versus Shevchenko. I'm interested in this particular fight, not necessarily interested in watching it. Hence, you're getting a Tapology page today. The whole card itself, if I'm being honest, it's not the card to skip, say, going out with your girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever. You don't want to necessarily spend all your time waiting for this one, unlike last night's card, which was the Volkanovski card. Mr. Volkanovski, by the way. What a great entire night that was for Australia. That was fantastic. To me, I think Volkanovski won barely, but it wasn't a robbery. It was really close. It is what it is, though. But to me, I still view Volkanovski as champ. But back to this particular card, it is not one I am really looking forward to. Like, there's some good names on the card, but overall, it's kind of like a meh. But let's get started. First fight of the night, flyweight. We've got Juan Camillo Ronderos versus Clayton the Guida Carpenter. Oh shit, Guida is already minus 300. Last I checked, really, I didn't see the odds on it. I don't know about that. Come back on. His name is 100. Juan Camillo 100 Ronderos. That's weird. Plus 240. 4-1 versus 6-1. Let me check my notes on these two guys because Ronderos is, I don't know if he should be that big of a favorite, to be honest. Like Clayton Carpenter, he's very good. Don't get me wrong. I think he's very athletic. He's very good. He's very smart. Good kicks. Dude can knock you out. He's a finisher for sure. He's got it made on the ground. He trains out of the MMA lab. Extreme Couture for Ronderos. Ronderos, the thing I worry about when it comes to betting, say Carpenter at minus 300, which I am going to pick Carpenter to win. Don't get me wrong. It's just that Ronderos, he does possess something that I like, and it's just relentlessness. Like he doesn't necessarily give up. You do have to put him out. He came into the UFC short notice. He fought the Undertaker, Dvorak, and he didn't have the best account of himself, but he didn't look terrible. He did get finished in the first round, but the guy, he's got a good gas tank. I saw him on Instagram. He was looking like he was training for a title fight. Like he is definitely wanting to win this one. He wants to get in the UFC win list. As for Carpenter, though, why I think he should be the favorite is because he has just the raw natural athleticism. He should win this fight any way he chooses. It's just that he hasn't necessarily been super tested. His last fight was in the Contender Series, and he showed a pretty decent account of himself. He fought a guy in, what the fuck is his name? Edgar Chiades, who had a longer reach. He just was keeping on the outside. He had to mix things up. He showed his fight IQ. It wasn't like he went out there, he got outmatched on the feet, and he just chose to like continue to strike. He went for takedowns. He really made it his fight. And I think that's what I like the most about that guy, Carpenter. It's just more so, again, that price tag on a new fighter, very young. I don't want to say necessarily inexperienced because he did show some overall fight IQ and shit you want to see as a young fighter going into the UFC. It's just that, again, I don't think I can trust him at that price tag. I will pick him to win this one. I think he can get him out early. That's his specialty. He's too quick. As I mentioned about Ronderos, there's some good things about the kid, but to me, overall, he's just going to be too slow. He's not going to be there to necessarily put up a decent fight against Carpenter. The only way I see Ronderos winning is if, say, Carpenter gasses himself out. Not necessarily Ronderos gasses him out. He gasses himself out going for the finish, or Carpenter gets hurt, which, shit has happened. I'm going to go with Carpenter round number 1. Knockout. I just think Carpenter's going to just be too quick for him, just too sharp for him that night. And he's going to have a highlight reel finish. The guy has some in the LFA where he landed a beautiful head kick. The guy is a fast finisher, fast starter, so I'll go with Carpenter. If things get rough, I think Carpenter's got the wrestling and just, again, the overall athleticism to keep it in his, I guess, pace, just so Ronderos doesn't, say, take over and just try to, like, stall him against Cage, which he's pretty good at. But, yeah, Carpenter for me, first round knockout. Next bout at welterweight, the return of the ghost, AJ Fletcher against Demba Carimbo. Carimbo, I wasn't too familiar with the guy. The answer, which I dislike because there's only one answer, and that's Frankie fucking Edgar, the GOAT, Frankie Edgar. Um, the odds minus 244, Fletcher come back on Grimbo plus 195. I don't love those odds currently, to be honest. Just realized my light went to shit. Whatever. I don't care. I did some research on Grimbo, and I don't know if he's UFC caliber yet. Like, I know he was talking a lot about wanting to come to the United States and train here and fight here, which great, it's good. Like, I appreciate that he wants to come here and get better. He just didn't show me enough to make me think he was going to beat AJ Fletcher. AJ Fletcher's a freak of nature. He is incredibly gifted with that explosiveness, which is funny because he's as wide as a ghost, and you would expect Grimbo to be the more explosive guy. Grimbo, not necessarily the best striker. Let me check my notes on him to be exact, because I remember him mostly for going for takedowns and having good top control, but not really doing anything with it. He is pretty athletic, but really, he's got nothing off of his back. I didn't see anything spectacular about the guy that made me think that AJ Fletcher was going to lose to him. AJ has his issues, but AJ's tough, right? He's tough. He is strong. He can go for takedowns. He can knock you out. He, to me, is just going to be the more athletic guy in this particular matchup. And the way I see Fletcher losing is if Carimbo takes him down and holds him there, and I really don't see that happening. And although we saw Fletcher lose to Anglusa via the striking, nothing that I saw from Carimbo showed me that he had any level of striking that was going to compete with AJ Fletcher. So I think AJ can get a finish here, but realistically, I think it goes to a decision. I think Fletcher needs a win, and I think he's going to do everything in his power to make sure he gets that win, and that would include maybe not taking any unnecessary risks here. So I'll go with Fletcher by a decision here. Next bout, we've got Nazim Sadykhov versus Evan Elder. Nazim, I call this guy, not only is he nasty Nas, but I call him Joey Cantinileone because this guy fucking straight New York accent. Like, when I first heard him talk, I'm like expecting him to be like, yes, I came here to beat people and come to US to beat. I'm like, no, this motherfucker's like, yeah, me and my boys, we go down to Brooklyn and hang out, get a slice. I'm like, oh shit, this guy really threw me off. I like the guy. I like what he has to bring to the table. He trains out of Sarah Longo or Longo Weidman, whatever combination they have now. The guy is pretty solid. To be frank, he's not necessarily like spectacular. He does have good cardio, good boxing, good wrestling, good BJJ, but nothing like, oh my God, he's spectacular. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen the guy lose minutes in a fight where he's getting held up against the cage, but I've also seen him, reverse position, get on top, and just do some damage, get submissions. Beautiful knockout in the Contender Series where he was dominating that fight. There were some moments there that kind of like let the gas off, and his opponent was able to like control slightly, but then come the third round, he bodies him up, body head with the same punch. I think it was a left or right hook to the body, followed up with the right hook to the top, which knocked out his opponent, which was Hazanda. I like the kid. I like him a lot. It's just that he's not necessarily a guy I am super high on. I'll leave it at that, but he is a minus 175 favorite compared to Evan Elder, who is a plus 145 dog. Came into the UFC. He made his debut against Preston Parsons, weight class above. This is at lightweight. He fought at welterweight in his UFC debut. He had a decent account of himself where he showed his toughness, his perseverance, but going back and watching tape on the guy, he seems almost like a very particular type of fighter where he's very athletic. He moves a lot. He bounces on his feet. He throws a lot of kicks. He's very dynamic. He is honestly the more athletic between the two. I wouldn't consider Sadykhov to be a very athletic dude. Elder, definitely athletic, definitely strong, but he doesn't have any technical attributes to him. On the feet, he just throws a lot of, not necessarily lazy kicks, but to me, they're lazy because he doesn't set them up. He just throws kicks to throw them, but they are pretty, they're athletic, but they're not like effective in my eyes. He's kind of a weird combination of a grinder like wrestling grinder, but he's not necessarily a really good wrestler, and like a kickboxer on defeat. He's not a master of either. Uh, the thing about it is that he does slow down and he doesn't have that technical aspect to him that makes me think that he's going to pose any threat to Sadykhov. I think Sadykhov is going to win this decision. I would go with Sadykhov by finish, but Evan Elder's a tough dude. Like, even if he's tired, he's not going to let himself get submitted. Preston Parsons had him in a really deep arm triangle and he did not give up. So props to that guy. Like, he's training out of Killcliff. I know he's being trained properly. It's just that his style does not resonate to win high level fights, right? Like, he's beating up bums in the contender series. He's beating up bums in the regional scene. He's even beating some decent guys with decent records, but it's more so because he's implementing his will. And I don't see him doing that against Joey Contiglione here. So I got Sadykhov by a decision. I think he might even get a finish, but again, Evan Elder's a tough dude and he won't quit on himself. Tough Missouri boy. So, yeah, I'll go with Sadykhov by a decision. Next bout, we've got Ovince St. Preux versus Felipe Lins. This fight pains me to talk about because, like, look at that. Like, Mauricio Hua, split decision for OSP. Like, knowing what happened to Mauricio last time out, it's kind of like, can we trust Ovince St. Preux? Like, Ovince St. Preux is a mystery, right? He's a tall, strong guy, good grappling, hits hard, but he's old. His chin is no longer, well, it never was. It's just still like you can't trust him. Sometimes he can take a punch, sometimes he can't. Felipe Lins on the other side, dude, he's dropping down to light heavyweight. He fought Prachnio where he had a decent account of himself, but he didn't necessarily do anything too spectacular. I liked his cardio though. It was, to be fair, a test out spot for Felipe Lins. Like, he was kind of learning on the job at light heavyweight. Like, he primarily fought at heavyweight for most of his life. Coming down to light heavyweight, he had to kind of find his style, which he implemented more of a grinding style where he really pushed Prachnio against the cage, got him tired. When he let his hands go, it was still very impressive. Like, damn, he still got that speed. I do think Felipe Lins is going to catch OSP eventually. I don't know what round, but yeah, to me, the minus 225 price tag on Leans is not worth it. It's more for me like it doesn't go the distance, but I do worry that, like, say both these guys get tired from grappling because, Ovince St. Preux, he is just one of these assholes that when you think you got him out and you throw punches and he's blocking them and you think to yourself, like, fuck it, I can take him down, finish him up with ground and pound. That's when he strikes. Like, he coils up. Instead of just throwing punches, like, a lot of dudes have lost that way to him. Like, when's the last guy who lost to him, which was Pedro, for example. Tyson Pedro had him hurt, decides I'm going to go for a takedown because I'm tired of throwing punches, fucks up, gets straight arm barred or arm locked. I don't think that'll happen here with Felipe Lins. I think Lins is going to be smart enough. I think his hands are going to be too fast for him. We'll see. It's just Ovince St. Preux is a big body. And Felipe Lins, I don't know how well his gas tank's going to hold up with a guy like Ovince St. Preux. I don't think it's going to matter. I think he'll knock him out eventually. So I'll go second round knockout for Felipe Lins. Next bout, featherweight bout, we've got Jamal Emmers versus Hussein Askabov. This one was kind of tricky for me because I know Hussein was to make his UFC debut sometimes, and he hasn't fought in 2 years. He was supposed to fight. I'll go back and check. A couple dudes, and I think he pulled out on a couple. He was going to fight Brito at featherweight on the Contender Series, and he had to pull out visa issues. Herbert Burns, which I thought he would have destroyed, he withdrew then. The guy is primarily a 135 pounder, though, which is what kind of concerns me here. Jamal Emmers, dude's got really bad fight IQ, but he's very talented, right? I think he's got some great physical attributes that can potentially win him this fight. As a slight underdog, plus 125, like, I am very tempted to take Jamal Emmers against the much smaller Hussein Askabov. Geez, it's 5'10 compared to 5'8. I know for a fact Jamal Emmers is going to have the reach advantage. It's just that, again, seeing the fight IQ of Jamal Emmers when he went for a toe hold against Pat Sabatini, fucking hell, man. Like, he's a professional fighter, and I'm just some idiot on the internet, and I fucking know don't go for toe holds at all. Like I've been there, man. I've been in the 50-50 position, and I'm going for a toe hold, and I'm cranking the fuck out of it. And the coach is just like, look at these fucking idiots going for toe holds. Like I learned pretty quick, they're pretty much useless. Like you can get some low level guys, but him going for a toe hold on a guy like Pat Sabatini was just like embarrassing, man. And going back and seeing Hussein fight, like he's solid, right? He's got the wrestling. His striking's okay, even though he's gotten a lot of like flashy knockouts, like flying knees and such. I did notice he goes for heel hooks himself. So if he gets put in a position where Jamal Emmers is, say, on top, I think he can potentially sweep and go for a heel hook. It is too damn close to call for me, right? Like there's too many question marks behind both these guys. Both haven't fought in about 2 years or so. Let's see. Yeah, Emmers has been about a year and a half. Hussein is about two. Undefeated prospect. I just really do think he might be a little too undersized here for Emmers. I'm going to take a shot on the dog. I'll go with Emmers to potentially get a knockout like in the second round. I think his striking's pretty good. It's just again, you have to know what you're getting yourself into with Emmers. Like you got to know that this guy can potentially fucking go for a takedown himself for whatever reason, just because he wants a style and get reversed. Not to say that I've seen that happen. I just have such little opinion of him right now after that. He's going to have to show me that he can win. And I really do think he's got the physical attributes to win here. Like, I don't know if Askabov is going to be able to take him down and hold him there. And on the feet, I think Emmers is going to have a pretty good advantage. Like, normally, I'll just be straight. Like, after seeing Islam kind of pull a bit of a stunt against Volkanovski, and that's not even to take anything away from Volk, it's just you expected him to have such dominant wrestling. These Avs are no longer as dominant in my eyes as they once were. So for that reason, potentially I'm going to go with Emmers. Might take a shot on him. Just he might be my what the hell is that dude's name that cashed me yesterday? Blake Builder of this card. So I'll go with Jamal Emmers by second round TKO. He better not fuck this up for me. Next bout we've got still in the prelims, Lena Lansberg versus Mayra Bueno Silva at bantamweight. Jesus, minus 400, but that is accurate. Lena Lansberg, 40 years old, coming back plus 310. 40-year-old, I'll give her that. She had a decent account of herself against Carol Hosa, but it's pretty much proven you take her down, you control her there, you can win. I think Shitara has much better striking than Carol Hosa, just not necessarily the most volume. Compared to Rosa, she's got better volume. And yeah, if Shitara takes the back, I think it might be a wrap for Lena Lansberg. Like Lena's got the elbows. There's always a possibility that a cut could happen, and you can get a TKO via doctor stoppage cut. But other than that happening, I don't see Bueno Silva losing. I'm going to go with the submission round number one. I think she takes her back. I mean, shit, her last fight against Stephanie Egger, like she took her back pretty quickly, but Egger kind of reversed it and did like a judo hip toss and got on top. And then she got immediately phantom submitted. So I'll go with Bueno Silva, submission round number one. I'll say rear naked choke. Short notice bout, lightweight, Jim Miller versus Alexander Hernandez. Alexander fucking needs to win this fight. Like if he loses this fight, I don't know, man. Like I thought really that he would retire after losing to Billy Q, where he looked really good in that first round until the end of that round. The dude, I don't know what it is about him. Like he's physically gifted. He's strong. He's fast. Great wrestling. It's something. It's between his ears. It doesn't really correlate well. Minus 200 come back on Jim Miller. Plus 160. To me, let me see what my notes say. Did I write down? This might be one doesn't go the distance. It could be the spot. It could be the Clayton versus Ross fight where Alexander just says, fuck it, goes forward. To be fair to Alexander, he has had a murderer's row. Billy Q, Moicano, Mike Breeden, Thiago Moises, he lost that one. You know, it's the spots where he should win that, you know what I mean? Like the spots where he should win is where he does win. It's just that at the very moment, Jim Miller's had the run of his career, but he's been beating guys similar to like the Mike Breedens of the world, like unfortunate Donald Cerrone, his retirement fight, Nicholas Moda, who, to be fair, is probably better than the guys that Hernandez has beat recently. And then Eric Gonzalez, I'll take Hernandez to beat Gonzalez any day. Jim Miller's 39 years old. I'm going to go with Hernandez to knock him out. I think his boxing has gotten better, and when he lets the hands go, he definitely can connect and hurt Jim Miller. Jim Miller can do the same. If Hernandez does something stupid, that could be it. I just don't think Jim Miller has the pace or the ability to really stop Hernandez. I know if Hernandez makes a stupid move on the ground, Jim Miller's going to take that arm. He's going to make an idiot out of Hernandez if Hernandez doesn't fight smart. And I think he will. I think Hernandez will control Jim Miller on the ground if he does get it there and avoid any submissions. And I think he actually gets him out on the feet. So I'm going to go Hernandez round number 1. This is definitely not a pick him. Don't pick either fucking dude unless you're going to go with Jim Miller. I'm really good at telling people what not to bet. I'm terrible at telling people what to bet. So I'll tell you, do not fucking bet this shit straight. Just doesn't go the distance or ends in a finish because, if Hernandez doesn't get that knockout, I think Jim Miller can definitely take over. If Hernandez gasses himself, this is at short notice, but because you had the weight cut from featherweight going back to to lightweight, I think he's going to come in really decent shape. So I don't necessarily doubt his gas tank here. But again, I just don't think Jim Miller has the type of brooding pace or the power to really, really upset Hernandez enough to gas him out. Because that's usually where you can get him out there, when he's gassing out and he accepts his fate. So I'll go with Hernandez round number 1. Main card opener. Goddamn, William Nightmare Knight. He is a nightmare to bet as well. Versus Marcin Prachnio. Oh, I got confused for a second. I thought Prachnio was an underdog, but it's actually William Knight plus 100. Come back on Prachnio minus 125. I got to go with the dog. It's a dog or pass for me. They're both unreliable. Really, I can't even trust William Knight to make weight. He's going to light heavyweight. He fought at heavyweight his last time out, got finished. Prachnio's been beating, certain caliber competition. He beat Ike Villanueva. I'm surprised as hell that he beat Khalil Roundtree. That's more of Khalil beating himself, that fight. If they fight again, Khalil will. It starts with R and ends in ape, Prachnio. So I'll go with William Knight. There's no real logical reason why I'm going with Knight. It's really man, you cannot trust either guy. If Knight implements his game plan of going for the takedowns and he gets on top of Prachnio, the dude's a fucking freak of nature, man. He's very strong, and I think he will get Prachnio down. Prachnio's takedown defense held up slightly against Linz. It's just that he did get tired, and Linz was landing on him he was rocking him. And if William Knight lands one of those sloppy punches, I think he can put him out. And really, I'd rather be on the dog side than on the, loser minus 125 Prachnio side. So I'll go with William Knight. I think he gets a TKO in the first round. I think if he gets on top of Prachnio, which I think he will, he's a strong bastard, man. He is ridiculous. I think he really, really hurts Prachnio, whose chin has not really been holding up as of late. I mean, shit. Was Sam Alvey his last knockout? Nope. No, Mike Rodriguez. Yeesh. Yeah, I think he goes back to his losing ways by knockout here. So I'll go with William Knight. Next bout, I am ashamed to say I did research on. We've got Josh Parisian, plus 180. plus 180. Jamal, the Stormtrooper Pogues, minus 225. I went back and just wanted to make sure, because this is an auto fade, as he always should be on Josh Parisian. Josh Parisian should always be an auto fade because the guy is potentially still the second worst heavyweight on the roster. The worst heavyweight on the roster is Alan Badeau, the guy who lost to Josh Parisian. I don't know if he's still on the roster yet. He might have gotten cut. He might have that French privilege because Cyril Gane is his boy. But when thinking about this matchup, Josh Parisian is just a slop fest, man. He got the win against Badeau because Badeau just kind of gassed himself out. He got hurt in that fight. The only way Parisian wins is by implementing his grappling, which it's not the best, period. He has to get on top of Pogues and just start blasting punches. That's the only way he wins. He's a sloppy striker. He spins a lot. He's not very precise. Pogues, on the other hand, as much as I think he sucks himself, he does have some good attributes. He's got good takedown defense. Like he fought Alex Polizzi in the LFA, and he had a decent account for himself, like even reversing spots against a very good wrestler. The guy himself has not lost at heavyweight. He's fought at middleweight, he's fought at light heavyweight, and he's lost in both categories, but he's not lost at heavyweight. He disappointed the hell out of me in his last fight in the Contender Series, where I picked the doesn't go the distance, and it went to a decision against Paulo Renato Jr. He's got good boxing, good fast hands. It's just that he doesn't necessarily carry a whole ton of power. I don't know, man. Minus 225 is a bit of a stretch, but I do think he gets the job done. I think it actually goes to a decision. Good quality about Josh is that although he kind of went running against Chase Sherman, like Chase Sherman must have scared the shit out of him because he was like, I don't want any of that. I can't trust the guy, man. Yeah, to me, I think the over might be the best option here. Yeah, I think Pogues has the better striking. And to be honest, Josh Parisian kind of gets lost when he's getting boxed up, which I think Jamal is going to do. He gets lost. He goes for desperate shit. And Jamal, the only way I see him losing again is if Parisian just kind of grapples him up. Because Jamal is not necessarily he's not really a heavyweight. He's just a fat, light heavyweight. If he gets tired, which frankly, I think he has a decent gas tank here. But if, say, the heavy body of Parisian up against the cage gets him tired, maybe that's the way he loses this one. I can't necessarily trust him, but I do think he wins this one by decision. I don't see a knockout happening on either side. I'll go with Pogues by a decision. Co-main event, we've got Zach the Ripper Pauga versus Jordan Beverly Hills Ninja Wright. Guaranteed this one's not going to a decision. Pauga going to light heavyweight after losing to Mo Usman. Holy shit, minus 300. God damn. Plus 240. It's a dog or pass for me, man. I won't even mince words. My issues with both these guys, glass cannon, but I'll give him some credit. He is getting better. At least he's trying to get better. He is trying to implement some wrestling. Vladimir Matyushenko is helping him with the wrestling. It's just that his cardio is absolutely trash. When he lets his strikes go, it is beautiful. He can definitely knock out anyone on the roster, but he has to do it in the first round. Like, he has the beautiful karate style, good kicks, good punches, blitzes very well, knees up the middle. He is devastating as a striker, but he's got a terrible chin and he has a terrible gas tank. If you put any pressure on him, he will crack, which is why a lot of people have been saying he's like the under god. Like, you take the under 1.5 and he will guarantee to get you some money. Pauga, as I was mentioning earlier, he fought Mo Usman for the heavyweight tough category champion or whatever. And Mo Usman's not known for having one-punch knockout power, and he one-punch knocked out Zach Pauga, which was like, what the fuck is this chin trash? Which is like, man, this is really a spot where if you want to take plus 240 on Beverly Hills Ninja to get a knockout on Pauga, guy dropping down to 205 again. He moved up to heavyweight to be on tough. He didn't think he can make 205 consistently if, say, for example, this was a 205 season. So he went up to middleweight or heavyweight. So I think he's going to look better. I just don't think his chin is good. Again, Mo Usman isn't a guy to one-punch knockout people. He's known as a motor because he can continuously go. He's got good cardio and he can throw a lot of punches. Most of those punches don't knock people out. I don't think minus 300 on Pauga, a guy who's 5-1, despite the 12-4 and shitty losing streak of Beverly Hills Ninja, he has proven himself to, be able to win in the UFC. Jeez, shit show fight. The other thing about Pauga, if we're being fair, is that he is training at elevation. He's going to have the better cardio. He's going to have the better gas tank, the better wrestling, because he is training with Curtis Blades. Like, I give him credit. Like, he's got more of an upside long run. It's just that in this position against this glass fucking cannon that could really knock anyone out, you cannot trust that minus 300. The under for me is probably where I'm going to take it just to be safe. I might even pussy out and do the minus 2.5. But I got to take a shot on Jordan Wright at plus 240. It's like, come on, man. Like, this could end in the first round. Maybe even it could be a double knockout. Who knows? But the first guy to get back up is going to win it. Now, I'll say Jordan Wright's pretty good at like staying upright. He usually gets knocked out against the cage. Say they'd hit each other. Boom, Pauga hits the ground. Jordan Wright's knocked out against the cage, but because he's still standing, he gets the W. I'll go with Jordan Wright first round knockout. It's a shit show, but I'd rather be at those dog odds. And then now we've got the main event of the evening, the best fight of the card, to be honest. We've got, Jesus, they already have odds for it. Minus 130 for cold-blooded Erin Blanchfield. We've got the pile driver, Jessica Andrade, minus 160. God, that minus 160. You got to go for that, Johnny. This is just too much for Erin Blanchfield. I was considering taking Blanchfield against Santos because Santos she doesn't have, I don't know. She's a very good fighter. She's definitely a very good fighter, but she is not to the level where she should be. Despite the fact that she did give Valentina a tough fight, it wasn't like spectacular. And I thought to myself, Erin Blanchfield might be able to take advantage. Her grappling is very solid, very dominant grappling. The plus side about Blanchfield is that when she was fighting, what the hell's her name? JJ Aldrich, she was getting beat on the feet, but she didn't look discouraged. Like, she didn't panic. She didn't freak out. She seemed collected, like, hey, eventually things are going to go my way and I'm going to get either a top dominant position or I'm going to get a sub. And she standing guillotined her. Like, she definitely didn't have really much to worry about. And her last fight, where she completely fucking humiliated Molly McCann, like, God, that was bad. That was incredibly impressive. And I think that performance is the reason why she's not a bigger underdog. Against Jessica Andrade, it's a hugely different story. Erin's going to fear for her life on the feet against Andrade. I think Andrade has a very good shot of TKOing her in the second or third round, possibly even the first. Like, I know Andrade has been dominated on the ground before by, say, Valentina. That was at a higher weight class. Well, it's a flyweight, right? But that's Valentina, right? Like, as of late, I cannot second guess myself against Andrade. She beat Lemos, right? Overpowered her. She beat the shit out of Lauren Murphy. Lauren Murphy couldn't get anything off on her. Erin Blanchfield, she's a very talented grappler. And yes, she might even have some success on the ground, but against a very strong, very capable former champion in Jessica Andrade, I just think it's a completely different level. Like, she's not ready for this shit, in my opinion. Erin's a very nice, very lovely lady. She's very, very young as well, 23. I think she'll bounce back from this loss. I have to go with Andrade to knock her the fuck out. I think she's going to hurt her bad. I really don't know how good Blanchfield's chin is, but I can even see a doctor's stoppage here where how can I put it? The continuing ass whooping that if, for example, I'll give you this. If Lauren Murphy and Jessica Andrade were to still be fighting in some fantasy land, and say the doctors or the referees are like, we're going to continue this fight until one of these ladies drops, and Jessica's not tired, and Lauren Murphy's still taking that ass whooping like a champ, and at a certain point they're like, hey, that's enough. We need an alternate because Lauren Murphy lost her face. Her face is gone, but she didn't get knocked out. Let's put in Erin Blanchfield there. That continuous ass whooping that Jessica Andrade was giving to Lauren Murphy is what Erin Blanchfield's probably going to get. And because of that, I'm going to go Andrade second round TKO. I am worried, though, frankly, that, Erin is a very talented grappler. If she does get on top, I can see Andrade kind of not having the best spot there. Like, she might be panicking a little bit just based on how good Erin is. But I am definitely seeing Jessica eventually getting back up, right? She's very strong, and I just don't think Erin's felt that kind of power before and that kind of striking, of a high-level lesbian like Jessica Andrade. So I'll go with Jessica. Second round knockout. And those are my thoughts on this particular fight. Again, not particularly looking forward to it. I'm fine skipping this one. I don't want to disrespect any of these fighters. It's just shit. Like, I nearly missed Volkanovski fight yesterday because I was judging some fights, and I was like, "Oh my god, I can't miss it! Oh my god!" I was checking my phone the whole time. If I was judging fights on this card, wouldn't even have my phone on me. I'd just leave it in the back. But yeah, man. Let me know what you think of the predictions so far this year. I've been doing fairly okay betting wise, so. I haven't hit a parlay yet, which is sucky, but I've been doing better live betting. Like I've actually made some more money live betting than I've made, like you know, tracking my bets. Who saved my ass yesterday? It was funny enough. I'll say this: Parker Porter, as I mentioned, not the guy. He was not the fucking guy, right? Like I got Tafa to win first round knockout. That saved my ass, and then I kind of kept reinvesting that money under the unders, and then eventually kind of saved myself from a losing night. Also, Jack Della, he is the man. Fucking said it. He was going to get obliterated. But yeah, anyways, fuck about that. Jessica Andrade, Aaron Blanchfield. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Yeah, catch you next fight.